My name is Antonio Carlos Bramante. My undergraduate degree was in physical education here in Brazil. My master degree was in education in the area of movement science and health development. And that was done at Westchester State University in the United States. And I did my PhD degree on leisure studies and park management. At that time, we call parks and recreation at the Pennsylvania State University, also in the USA. Well, right after my graduation in physical education, I was invited to teach recreation practice in a new college of physical education in my hometowns called Sorocaba. As I used to say, it was love at first sight. Later on, I was invited to work for the municipality of Sorocaba, my city, to develop the first leisure program policy. And this was during the 70s, 1970s. After my doctoral degree, I was invited to establish the first department of leisure study at the State University of Campinas in São Paulo in the 80s, which became the place from where I retired. After retirement, I started to work with consulting in different aspects of leisure management in several institutions such as SESC, SESI, and the largest chain of social clubs in the country, preparing over 1,000 managers in the organization. This was done in all the states, 26 states of Brazil, and also the federal district in Brasilia. More recently, I was invited to a position in the University of Brasilia, our capital, as invited professor, where I lead a group of 15 researchers in leisure management from 7 different states. And this is called Laboratory of Leisure Experience Management. Besides, I continue to work in the area, mainly in volunteer basis. Well, when I was only 12, I was already taking guitar classes, oil painting classes, and I became member of our local YMCA, where I spend more time than at my home. At that time, I became very involved with different sports and continued to play throughout the college years. There's another reference which was very important in my life. When I was only 17, I was awarded a scholarship to spend 1 year in the United States, and I lived with American family, attend my senior high school, where I was exposed to a number of leisure experiences. I should say that today I'm 72 years old and I continue to walk at least 3 times a week. I attend physical activity studio twice a week where I have my own personal trainer for the past 20 years. And I also attend a class at University of Third Age once a week on a course on philosophy and spirituality. And I'm only man in the class, but that's okay. Since the beginning of the pandemic, I also start to take a very interesting course online on Italian language because my background, all they came from Italy, the four grandparents. Of course, that my wife and I and myself we enjoy visiting our 2 sons and 2 children, grandchildren, who live in the same city. And until pandemic allowed us, my wife and I used to travel extensively inside Brazil and abroad. It's a busy life. The World Leisure Day is a quite long demand from some members of the World Leisure Organization board that we just put in the paper last year or year and a half. Then we found what we call a window of opportunity to emphasize the advocacy role of the World Leisure Organization by providing leisure experience as a right to everyone. We also thought that the best way to celebrate the World Leisure Day would be through providing opportunities for people from different places in the world to exercise this right of living a true quality leisure experience. Once approved by the World Leisure Organization Board, the World Leisure Day became one of the priorities in our strategic planning 2020-2025. The project the project is based on the World Leisure Organization family, specifically the World Leisure Centers of Excellence network, so that each year we may rotate the major responsibility of organizing guidelines for the event. This year, the major partners of this initiative were the World Leisure Center of Excellence at USP, University of São Paulo in Brazil, SESC, Social Service of Commerce, both São Paulo and also the headquarters in all the country, and the LAGEL, which is the Laboratory of Leisure Experience Management that I lead. And we promoted a launch event on March 26th to celebrate the World Leisure Day on April 16th. We had several countries, more than a dozen countries participating, more than 50 organizations, uh, several thousand people taking part in several initiatives, mostly online due to COVID. This is the second time I served the World Leisure Organization board, being the first time on late 1990s, 2000, and this happened because studying abroad for several years provided me with the idea of the international perspective importance. I became involved with then World Leisure and Recreation Association since its first international congress in Lake Louise, Canada in 1986, until working very hard to bring the same congress to this side of the world when SESC in São Paulo organized the fifth edition of the congress in 1998. Now, this is my last term. I hope to contribute in different roles to the leisure and the elderly SIG, which I'm part of it. Also, the leisure management, a couple of committees and task forces, and the major role to implement the World Leisure Day in a sustainable way. World Leisure Organization plays an important role in narrowing the bridge between academics and practitioners by promoting research that may qualify professionals that are in the forefront developing leisure public policies, for example. Another important work that the World Leisure Organization undertakes is to enhance the opportunity for the young generation of leisure students and professionals to be engaged in most projects. These young people, they are not the future of our organization. They are our present.